Well, hi, Shelby.
Welcome back to Miss Willis Book Club.
Woo,
Ooh. I love it.
Yes.
So what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about The Road of Bones by Demi Winters.
Let me do that one more time.
The Road of Bones.
The Road of Bones.
Yeah, this is a fun one. I've had this on my shelf for a little while.
Yeah.
And then at our December book club, we did the you're not reading drawing, and mine was the last one, which meant that we got to read the book that I put in. So
I love it.
So that was really exciting.
We had so many votes for Quicksilver too.
We did. I won't be surprised if that one is coming soon. So if you want to try and get ahead of what books might be on episodes,
heck yeah,
maybe read Quicksilver.
Maybe potentially for March.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very exciting.
What did you think of it?
I loved this book.
Did you?
I absolutely loved it.
Oh, good.
I know. There was another book that we read earlier last year, and it was also a Viking romance, but I didn't love that one as much.
Yes.
So I was a little nervous coming into this one, and I adored it.
Yeah? What was your rating?
I think I gave it a 5.
I love that.
Right? I think I was going back and forth between a 4 and a 5, and I decided on a 5.
Oh, I love that. We did have a couple of girls in book club.
Yay.
There was a couple other 5s who they went right into the next book, and they were like,
is it out? I didn't think it was out yet.
Yeah. No, Kingdom of Claw has also been out for...
I had to pre-order it.
Maybe it's getting re-released traditionally then. Oh. Because I have... From when I got this one, I got the digital arc for the second one, and that was February or something last year.
That's exciting, because I wanted to go right into it. I thought it was out already.
I think it... Maybe go look.
Yeah, I'll have to go look.
That's interesting.
I know, because I had to pre-order it on Amazon.
I think maybe the third one, maybe that one's coming up. But Kingdom of Claw, the second one, should be. Anyways.
I'll look into it.
Yes. Yay! Oh, that makes me so happy.
What did you think of it?
I really liked it too. I also liked it better than A Fate Inked in Blood, which was the other Viking romance we read last year. And I wasn't really sure if it's that I didn't like that style or if I just didn't love that specific book. But I thought it was a really good time.
Oh my gosh.
I had a really fun time with it. I gave it 4 stars.
Yes.
Maybe would have been almost 4.5. And now that I've sat on it for it's been a couple weeks now since I finished, then I'm I don't remember why I only gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what it was that I at that moment was not loving about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I liked the main character fine. I liked that. It was a fun story. I'd say that the traveling got a little long.
It definitely
So I think that was probably part of it. But overall, I thought it was really good, and I'll definitely read. I have lots of questions I want answered.
Me
so I'll definitely
too.
read the second book.
I love it. I'm so bummed that I missed book club because I want to know all about it. What did the girls have to say?
Overall, I'd say it was pretty positive. So we had maybe 15 girls, plus or minus a few. Might have been a little more than that. Yeah. We had a couple 3s, mostly 4s, and a couple 5s. That was about where we sat. So I'd say overall, people liked it. There was a few that didn't love it, and a few that were obsessed with it. Top book of the year kind of thing.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, overall, very, very positive.
Well, do we have anything else spoiler free, or do we want to get into it?
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Before we do, we wanted to give just a little brief memo because we don't know what the fate of TikTok is going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, so sad. But we do have all of our content on BookTube. So our username is just Miss Willa's Book Club. And everything is also on Instagram at Miss Willa's Book Club Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll keep releasing these podcasts. So if you still want to hear us yap, then we're there for you.
Because we are professional yappers.
Professional yappers.
We got the matching sweatshirts today. I love it. All right, let's get into some Road of Bones.
All right. Spoilers for the first book of the Ashen series, The Road of Bones.
Here we go. I love it. So what specifically do people like or dislike in book club about it?
I think the amount of time that they were traveling on the road, kind of everybody was feeling like it got a little long or maybe a little bit repetitive.
Yeah.
Once she had already linked up with the crew and was developing bonds with them, I guess, I think everybody said up until the point where she has her side quest.
Yes.
Her side quest to go to the house and try and get the book and try and get the information, up until that point, I think it was actually kind of like a Fate Inked in Blood. The very beginning, super strong. And then there was, that little chunk of from like 20 to 50% that I think was like, could have been tightened up a little bit. And then the end, like towards the end of the book, everybody thought that was pretty strong too.
That is almost exactly how I felt too. And about halfway, I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to think about this book? Because the first half of it for me, I was like, okay, there's a ton of new world building going on. There's a ton of things happening. There's so much that's left in the dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we haven't learned much up until that point.
Yes. And so it's funny because a couple of the girls that only gave it 3 stars, that was why. It's because they were like, I don't get it. Like, I didn't get what was going on. But I'm like, but that's why I liked it. Because it was like dribbled out. Like, yeah, we don't really get what the difference is between like the Ashbringer type magic and the other type magic, where we don't really understand what it means to be a twin, both with magic. Like, is somebody absorbing the other person's magic? Was it just like, because they're twins, they both have both? Like, there were I liked that there were that many questions. I thought that was cool because it made me look forward to the next book because I want to know. But that was a reason why some girls didn't like it, because they felt like they didn't get enough from that magic and like enough understanding. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's really cool how there can be like those like complete opposite views on the same exact
same topic. Yeah. What was a favorite part for you? Oh my gosh.
Probably the first thing that comes to mind is when they finally get to like one of the final cities and she runs away from the group. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, come on. Like, you have all these men here to protect you and you run away from them.
Right. Are you talking about when, was it Skada? What was her name again?
Her name was, Skreda.
Yep. Are you talking about when Skreda was chasing her and she leaves to like, she doesn't want to endanger the crew? That part? Yeah.
And she like runs into the church and she like comes out the hole.
Going through the crypt. That was like, I'd say I had like very strong heebie-jeebies during that part when she's talking about like the dust of all of the bones all over her.
I was like, oh my God, the imagery was so good.
Oh, I could like feel that dust on my own skin. I was like, oh God.
Same. It was so good. What was your favorite part?
I actually think the reveal that Ray, why am I forgetting their names right now? Yeah. When we find out that first Ray has magic and that he's like the one who's been burning all the people along the road of bones, I did not see that coming.
That was such a twist.
At all. Like, not even a little bit. I really thought that just his connection to our main character was going to be the whole like leaves drugs, like leading off of that because of his brother and stuff. Like, I thought that was going to be just like the one little special thing. So then when he also has magic and stuff, I like really was not expecting that.
Me too. I blew through the last like 100 pages for that exact reason.
It was crazy.
Like, oh my God. I was like, we are learning so much more. I was like, oh my God. Like the last half, we learned that like she's the princess.
Yeah.
We learn about Ray.
Yeah.
We learn about like more of the magic, but we don't learn all of it. Like there's so many questions left after this book.
It's just like the little dribble. Well, and we get the little bit from where her sister is now.
Yes.
Which I also wasn't expecting. And that was another thing that the girls at book club said is they also like, I don't know, we thought she was going to be more of a prisoner or something, or like, but she seemed to just be like living in the castle with them, like, sort of required to be there, but kind of just like, I'm the princess and I don't want to be like, I just have all of these things, but you know, I'm just stuck in this one little circle. Like,
exactly.
I thought that her life was going to be way worse, so I was really not expecting that.
I know, she's like literally getting princess treatment,
right?
And I'm like, so why can only one twin live?
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense to me.
So that's why that brings me to the magic side where I can't tell if it's like, if one of the twin dies, like the other just automatically absorbs that piece of magic.
I didn't know either. That's kind of what it seemed like, but I wasn't sure at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, one of the things that we find out on like the last couple of pages is that Queen Signe, or Signe, however you want to say it, is only 32 years old.
Right. So young. So young. Well, even like the ages of what people were in my head, I feel like are just not accurate, because until more than halfway through the book, I thought Ray was like an old gray-haired man. Like, I thought he was like in his early 50s is like how I imagined him. And then way further on, they're like, oh, his 26 years. And I was like, wait,
what?
What? That was not what I thought.
I know.
I was like, not even a little bit what I was imagining there.
Literally felt the same exact way.
Which is funny because I feel like, I don't know. I guess normally I do age up, but it's not like any of these characters were like crazy young. It was just that there were like a few of them that I just assumed were older for whatever reason.
Especially Ray, since he was in that leadership position. Right. I thought he had been in it for longer.
Same.
Yeah. Oh my God. So how did you feel about Ray and Jonas?
I'm not going to lie. I thought that... like how I thought I saw it going is that on the side quest with Ray, there was going to be like more of a romantic moment between them. And then when they got back to camp with everybody, like I know there was a confrontation with Jonas and Ray, but like I thought there was going to be more of a direct like fighting over her kind of thing. Like I thought we were going to go full love triangle.
I did too.
And I feel like it didn't quite get to love triangle because we didn't quite get there with Ray yet.
Yes.
But I actually would have really liked to see the love triangle.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. What about you? Was there like, what did you think about their dynamic and especially with her involved?
You know, the whole book, I was going back and forth on like, well, who is the love interest? Who is it going to be? Like, it was very clearly supposed to be Jonas in the beginning. And I was like, is it going to switch up? Like, what's going to happen? Like, what is the relationship? I was questioning that the entire book.
See, it's so funny because I asked at book club if everybody thought it was obvious that Ray was going to be the choice. And everybody was like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, for sure. And I was like, I'm going to be honest. But to be fair, I also fell for Tamlin the first time.
Oh yeah, so
I don't know, but it took until like pretty far in when Jonas makes some comment about like, you're wearing my family's signal, like you're mine, like has this attitude of like, you're mine to do with however I want. And like, you should be doing what I want you to do because of that. And so it wasn't until that moment where I was like, because she does, and like, don't get me wrong, there definitely was descriptions of Ray also seeming like, you know, big, hot, like strong, burly man. And that they definitely had like a little bit of a, like, oh, I hate you, but I love you dynamic, you know? So like, I get it. Like I did see that.
Yeah.
I wasn't oblivious to it, but it wasn't until like further in than I would have expected that I actually was like, maybe we really are going to go full flip here. You know?
Yes. Yeah. There was a point where I felt the same exact way. Okay. Maybe I don't have like the exact point. But at some point I wrote here, I knew Jonas was too good to be true. I knew it.
Right.
Like
I did have that.
Yeah. Like I never actually fully trusted him and I couldn't tell what it was about him that I didn't trust. There was just something that I was like, it might be too good to be true.
I think for me, it was I knew the lying was going to be an issue because I feel like we saw it foreshadowed with Scylla and Hecla's relationship because Scylla doesn't say anything when Hecla's like, oh, like, did your husband do this to you? Like, oh yeah, well that happened to me too. And they like bond over that. And then when she finds out, she's really hurt. And so when Scylla tries to say, oh, it was a land dispute issue, and that's part of why Jonas feels really bonded with her is like, oh, you understand the struggle I went through. And we saw how that was going to go before. And we've seen Jonas kind of snap, like when he's in the city and he just like beats somebody up because they disrespected him.
Yes.
Like so that's in quotes, disrespected him, right?
Yeah.
So I think that those things I saw is like when he finds out, he is going to blow up.
Yes. Yeah. So there were like a bunch of different points where I was like, I don't think I trust it very much.
Right. Yeah. He did give like a little bit of red flag energy with how he behaved with other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't know. I feel like if I was in her situation, I probably would have also done the same things. Like, you don't know if your actions are going to actually work or not, or if it's just going to like lead you down a different direction. And so a lot of the time I was like, oh yeah, she's making a good choice. Like she's trying to save herself. And then it comes and just like bites her in the ass. And I was like, no.
Yeah. But some of the time, I mean, the last one, it wasn't even really her fault. I really don't see it as her fault because she was trying to tell Ray all of what was going on and be like, you need to tell your crew this is what's up. Like, I don't want to endanger them without telling them. And he was one who's like, don't tell me details. I don't want to know.
Yes.
And so there definitely is some fault there because they all knowingly were like putting themselves at risk in that situation. They made a conscious choice as a crew to back up Scylla and be like, yeah, no, it's cool. You're going to stay with us. You're part of the family now. And that's fine. And like, that sucks that somebody died, but at the same time, like that was the risk that they all knowingly took.
Yes.
And so I felt so bad that Jonas was specifically putting that on Scylla so much and being like, well, that's what I get for caring about anybody besides my brother, which that's a shitty situation, but
such a shitty situation. And you know that his brother was like his entire world. But at the same time, how fast he switched, like from her point of view, like we didn't see that. Like he was being so kind. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, he's almost like forgiving her for all of this. And then we get to his point of view and it was like, oh shit, no, he is like manipulating the whole situation.
So manipulative.
I know.
Well, oh my God. So it was so funny. Somebody at book club with his brother dying talked about that situation. And, you know, the moment when he's like, holding his hand as he's like taking his last breath and being like, no, like you wait for me or whatever. Almost none of the rest of us had even thought too much about that. And somebody was like, that was so kind of shitty the way he said that. Cause it was very like, you're not allowed to move on until I'm there to catch up with you. And like, this, like you need to be here in this family home that I keep saying was where we needed to be, even though you said that maybe you wanted to be elsewhere. And
yes.
I like didn't even see that the first time I read it. And then as soon as somebody brought it up, I'm like, that was really like, you're not allowed to move on until I'm here too.
Yes. Like
Terrible.
He really is so selfish. When Hecla was talking about it earlier on in the book, when she was like, he's selfish, he's with a ton of women, he's not ready to settle down.
Yeah.
I was like, oh girl, you're being too harsh on him.
Right.
I was
too.
like, I had such a soft spot.
Yep.
For him, even though he was being manipulative, and I think that was the point.
Yes, I know. I thought it was really well done, and I'm glad that I guess all the rest of the girls at book club were smarter than me and saw that coming the whole time.
I was not.
But the beginning, I mean, it took a little while to read whether they were truly yellow red flags or if it was just like an overprotective, morally gray man, right?
Yes.
Like, and I think that was so well done because there aren't a lot of books that I've read, romantic-y books that I've read in the last like year or two that have had me guessing quite as much, you know?
I am right there with you.
Because I couldn't read, like at first, the relationship that Ray and Scylla develop is like one of mutual respect. And so you can't tell if it's like they're becoming really close friends and there's like a respect between the crew, especially because in my mind, he was so much older.
Yes.
And so that was the other reason why I was like, oh, this isn't romantic. He's like
a dad.
He's like a hot dad kind of age, right? And so I was like, yeah, like you appreciate it, but not interested, right? Like that's how I was reading that. And so I think that helped me stay fooled for a little bit longer.
Yep. Absolutely.
So what about the creatures? I want to talk about the creatures a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're only in there a little bit, like the vampire deer and,
my gosh.
you know, the giant wolves and whatever. I feel like at the very beginning of the book, when she's running more by herself through the woods, we see them a little bit more. Yeah. And then there's like a couple of vampire deer with Ray and whatever. But then we don't really hear or see it. Like they're definitely there in the background.
Right.
But I thought it was kind of crazy that when she was by herself and the other guys were attacking her and the wolf like attacks everything but her. And then like,
and it like almost saved her from all of the men.
Right.
Yes.
And then it's just not really ever comes up again. And so that's one of my questions of why I say I'm really interested in reading the second book because I want to know if that has anything to do with why she's this like so special, whatever princess, you know what I mean? That the queen wants so bad. Cause I thought that was kind of crazy. Or if that's at all related to like the, like smelling like rotting creatures and stuff.
It almost seemed like they were being controlled by something else.
Yeah. That's what I was wondering too. If it was kind of like a necromancy kind of thing.
Yes. Yep. Which I feel like also brings us into like the different types of magic. I feel like we have so many questions because we have names for them, but we don't know exactly what they are.
So Galdra is like all magic users, period, right?
And those are like the thing, like the types of beings that people are like trying to get and bring to the kingdom so that they can be like captured because they don't want these people around.
Yeah, because they were like mostly eradicated, but there was a few left over. And so now the queen is like sneakily behind the king's back.
Yes.
Collecting them. And we learned from Skreda.
Yes. Yep.
We learned from Skreda that the queen is like somehow has something to be able to take the Galdra power from other people. And in some way other people are using it. So I want to know, is the queen taking that power herself? Is she creating an army of minions that have all these powers that she wants?
Yes. We don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so cool. We know that there's magic between the twins. One twin gets one form, the other twin gets the other.
What's the other one again? I remember Ashbringer is one. Do we remember what the name of the other one is?
Let me see.
Because I definitely had questions on that, because at first when they brought up Ashbringer and they were referring mostly to Ray's alter ego.
Yes.
I thought that just meant specifically it was like something with fire and that everybody had that, but it's made me realize that it must not be specifically a fire thing. Like I wonder if it's like there's a destructive power and a something else power or something.
That's what it seemed. And I guess I didn't write it down.
Well, that's okay.
But yeah, there was definitely a different form of magic and we don't know that much about it.
No, but for me, I liked having that question.
I did too.
It makes me want to read the next one to have questions like that open.
Right. And I love that it left off where the sister is like, I need to go save my sister. And I'm like, yes! Like, I love this so much.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Were there any parts that you would have liked to see happen differently?
I think there was just, like you were saying earlier, there was so much time on the road. And, like, granted, like, yeah, things are happening. But, like, up until probably the 50% mark, I was like, okay, unfortunately, I was a little bored. And, like, I know it's a first book of a brand new series. Like, there's a lot of world building. There's a lot of explaining the things around you. And that's how I felt while I was reading it. However, I got to the end and I was like, oh, now I love it. Now I love that that's how it did it.
Well, so I want to circle back to the whole, like, smelling like they're rotting creatures and the weird behavior that is not what the rest of the crew seems to be expecting of them. So I'm curious if you have any other theories on, like, what's going on there or, like, what that might be related to.
My first thought I had with that was that the queen was controlling them somehow. I don't know how, but as you kind of brought up with, like, she's stealing the Galdra from people, like stealing their magic, I wonder if she's somehow controlling these different beings.
Yeah. And I wonder what the point would be of that. That's the other thing I'm curious, because it's not like the creatures are specifically seeking out Galdra, so it's not helping her purpose there. Like, they're killing just regular people too.
Yes.
And I kind of wonder, I don't know, if maybe, like, the fact that fewer Galdra are, like, using magic in the world, if that's somehow, like, disrupting a balance because like she killed off so many of them, and, like, maybe there's something bad happening because of that.
That would be so interesting. I love that we left off with so many questions. Like, there are so many things that are so unanswered in this book. Like, that's the perfect way to leave off the first book in a series.
Well, so what do you have for theories for what's going to happen in the next book then?
Oh gosh. So the way that I kind of pictured is where Scylla and her crew are, isn't it like across the ocean that her sister is? Or was it just like across the land? And we're back with a map. That's the nice thing about getting the PR package.
Yes. Okay.
So
back with the map. Thank you, Demi, for including the map in your package. Okay. So
I love it.
We started in, I'm going to butcher all these names. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Skarstad.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then this was that first city that she had to, like, cross the river, right? And there was the bridge and everything. She went up the Road of Bones around the Sleeping Dragons, which...
That's where she has the meeting with the previous leader and Ray.
Well, and there just seems to maybe be some other weird things going on there, because they always talk about, like, everybody avoids that area.
But then he has his house there.
No idea.
Very interesting.
Yes. So then where she was aiming the whole time was Copa up here.
Yes. Yep.
And Istre, like, that's where I thought, like, the castle and the sister and stuff are.
Oh, okay.
It's right there. So basically she was, like, going around the sleeping dragons and mountains and going all the way around that to the other side.
Okay,
to get
that
to where,
actually makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
I was picturing it like the Americas in England.
Well, that's why I was like, I feel like this will be helpful to show.
Very, very helpful, actually.
So
that's actually super helpful. And I loved that, like, there was a map in there, but I didn't reference it literally at all.
Oh, yeah. There's one in here, too, isn't there?
That was just like how I pictured it in my head.
Yeah, but the map, I feel like it didn't show as much of the world as the one that I have printed out.
Oh my god, that's
There's a
so
few
funny.
more cities and stuff on there, but yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, I love it. I am very interested to see what it's going to look like for predictions for the next book, what it's going to look like for the sister trying to get to where Scylla is. And how that's kind of going to tie in. I also wonder, like, is Jonas going to be in the picture?
Right? Well, so I kind of wonder if it's going to be Jonas against the crew now, because I kind of feel like the crew is going to back Scylla because they hadn't been expecting Jonas to turn on her like that.
Yes.
And so I wonder if at some point there is going to be like a clash between them, because I feel like everyone else is going to stay on Scylla's side. But now they're down 2 members.
I know.
Which is pretty significant.
Right.
I'm also sad that we didn't see Skreda. Like, I don't know why in that scene when Scylla runs into her in the house that she thought was going to be the safe house, and they're like kind of having a bonding moment right before Scylla kills her. I really thought there was going to be a little bit of the like teach you how to use your magic thing.
Yes.
I don't know why. Like, I thought that there was going to be a release of all of Scylla's magic, and that she was going to show her, and it was going to be this like, I hate you, but I respect you kind of relationship a little bit more. And so now we still don't really know. I mean, I'm assuming they keep talking about her being all cold. So maybe the same way that Rey is like, can burn people from the inside out and stuff. Maybe she can like freeze them or something.
I know.
Maybe it's a opposite.
Yeah.
But she's also a twin.
Exactly.
So do we know? So her sister can read thoughts.
Yes.
We got that from the little bit towards the epilogue. But we haven't seen any of that. Hers. Yeah, I was going to say, we haven't seen any of that in Scylla.
Right. We've really only seen like the light.
Right. But she's also been taking the leaves almost the whole time. So she's been suppressed, blocking her magic from ever fully developing.
Yeah.
So maybe like her own individual magic is showing, but like the twin thing isn't yet. But that's why I say I think maybe we'll find that out in the next book, or hopefully a little bit more. I also really want to see a like, you know, Power Rangers Unite type feeling with Rey and her like getting after everybody with their powers together. Like, they're just gonna be like badass couple, power couple.
I am so excited for that too. Oh my god,
it'll be so sweet because they already have like the friendship respect bond formed, and so I'm excited for it to be more.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah,
I know, and I wonder if it'll hopefully turn into more romance.
I think it will. I did notice that when she's doing the like truth or drink game, I don't remember what it was called. But when she's playing that game and he's like, oh, so who are you attracted to? And Rey's like, whoa, you don't have to answer that.
I know, she's like,
but like convenient timing that like she just never had to say who.
Right. And she was just sitting there blushing.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I felt like one of the things I really loved just generally about this book is the way that Demi Winters wrote about addiction and grief.
Yes.
Like, these are really hard topics, and I feel like she did it so well.
I totally agree. And the shame, I think the shame of the addiction piece was really well done too. And just like how complicated it is internally to like even think about. It's like she had so much terror over the headaches that it's like, even if she thought that she wanted to quit, there was like so much fear of not doing it, of what's going to happen to me if I don't.
Yep.
And what's going to happen to me if I do, like both sides of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Really intense.
Well, and it was really cool too, because the way that it happened, she thought these leaves were saving her from those headaches. And then she's like slowly learning that it's not.
The withdrawal was the headaches. Yeah.
And I loved that we were learning that information right alongside the characters.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I loved it.
It was really heartbreaking to see her feel like she needs to like hide, and just like the frantically counting how many leaves she had left and stuff. I felt like that was a really good portrayal of
a true addiction.
Yeah.
Oh, Yeah, it was really heartbreaking. But it was so well done to where you're not reading it and you go, ugh. Mm-hmm. It was like oh yeah, I'm feeling right there with the characters.
I felt that way about Scylla's character in general, like really the whole time. And a lot of the girls at book club kind of said that too, because especially in the beginning when we're like seeing her develop the friendships with the crew and like her relationship with Jonas, like right towards the beginning. And I think everybody kind of agreed that like the way she handled it really felt like the best that she could have done. And like even with Jonas, she had always presented like this is for fun and distraction, and like none of her actions or words ever really displayed anything differently. Like he was pushing on her like where my family crossed. He's like, you know, pushing that this is going to be this thing. But like in general, she always said back like, hey, I'm just looking for a good time. I'm looking for a distraction. And it's not like she was misrepresenting what she wanted from anybody. And so I think that all of us from book club had like kind of a little bit of respect for her and how she treated that situation, because especially being a virgin going into that,
right,
and like not gaining feelings through that, we're like,
it
couldn't
was
be
like,
me.
wow, couldn't be me. I love that.
But it was good.
It really was. Wow, I actually didn't think about that before. She really was honest with how she felt the whole time.
Very. And even if she couldn't be honest about her background, I feel like she really tried hard to like truly develop relationships with people, and I don't know, like
bond. She still was like who she is.
Right.
Like she didn't have to change that around.
Her character was the same. And she was learning those things about herself as they went anyways. Like she didn't know why the queen was after her originally.
Right.
Like she didn't know any of these things. So it's not like she was always straight up lying. She just maybe wasn't like super forthcoming with information.
Yes. Which, like, finding out that she is the princess, like, that was new information to her, too. It was, right. And I love, that was another point where I was like, I love that we're learning this information alongside the characters. Because, like, right, she wasn't lying about that. She just didn't know.
And then once she did, even though Jonas was like, no, don't tell anyone else, she's like, I have to tell Ray, I have to tell the crew. And Jonas was pissed.
That jealousy of him, like that he had with her confiding with Ray, that gave me such an ick for Jonas.
Yes. I gave everybody the ick for sure.
Which I guess it was supposed to.
Right.
I was like, oh my God.
It was gross though.
Yeah. It was like way jealous. I was like, this is your leader. This is the person that you're supposed to confide in as well.
Right.
It's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm excited. I'll pick up the next one as soon as I can get it.
Yeah, I think so I have the second one on my Kindle already. I haven't started it yet because I hate starting the second one before we talk about the first, because it's hard to draw the line of like what happened. But yeah, I'll probably read it pretty soon, which is fun because I know that we've gone through phases of feeling a little burnt out of romantasy. Yeah. So I really enjoyed having another one that was like definitely up there for me. It's another like really well done one.
I totally agree. After reading this, I felt like it was totally going to be up your alley too. Yeah. Because there was so much adventure to it.
And it was adventure. Yeah. I liked that.
And it was like there were like romance subplots to it, but it wasn't overpowering. It wasn't heavy. And knowing that they weren't 22 was like super helpful.
I know. Well, and I always love the like ragtag crew type.
Yes,
I feel like, you know, adventure on the road is like, that is very up my alley for sure.
I love it too.
Okay. Well, I'd say another winner, The Road of Bones.
Yeah. I loved it. Loved it. That's awesome.
Sweet.
It's so good to hear that book club loved it too.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. Good.
Oh,
cool. Sweet. Well, thanks for joining us, guys.
We'll see you guys next week.